Hey everybody, it's June 23rd, 2021. How you doing? It is, ooh, I'm about to do very well. This is some thick shade. I should just sit on this curb right over here and just take a load off. I probably would if there wasn't probably at least a couple heroin needles left in here. Ooh, this is very nice. Anyway, June 23rd, 2021, which means a new day and a new story. But before we get to that, remember as always to like, share, subscribe, hit up my Patreon. I'm always posting new stuff there. I'm trying to post there multiple times a week for you, form of various types of content. And if you want to see all that extra content, you need to join up with my Patreon today. The link to that is in the description with this video, as well as the links to my Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Reddit subreddit pages. So all that said, let's get to today's story, and this one's just whack. Ooh, a nice gentle breeze. So it's 1919, city of Portland, and a local school, or I may have even expanded, it may have just been general schools in the area. There was an organization, there was like a club, if you will, that had formed. And this club specifically, there was a lot of kids in it that were raising chickens. It was like part of this club thing. Kids kind of peppered in the city were raising chickens as part of this thing. You know, it was, I guess it was teaching the young kids you know, how to live a farm life. I'm a little concerned that they were having these kids do this mostly just so they'd learn how to eventually, you know, make chickens into food one day, because I saw the word poultry thrown around in there. I don't know, but I mean, there is something nice about the general idea that like a school was having kids who wanted to like raise chickens and look after them. And I'm hoping, I don't know how young these kids were, I'm just hoping somebody else was kind of looking over their shoulder while they were doing it, because some of these kids may have not necessarily known exactly what they were doing. It's just like, look at the pretty chickens. They give the chicken a hug and then they leave, and the chickens don't get fed, they don't get the proper care they need, and this whole, you know, concept kind of goes south very quickly. But there was, so that each kid that was doing this, they would put a sign on their, you know, at the front of their house that referenced their club that they were in for this, and then it would say, "Come see my chickens." And apparently the main focal reason that this was happening was so that kids who were in the program or interested in being in the program, or even just general people that, you know, adults even, who were like, what's this all about, would know where this was going on, and they could go to the home and be like, show me your chickens. And one particular child that was in this program, who's never given a name, but he lived at Front and Gibbs, which, considering, I don't know exactly where Gibbs Street, I think it's street, where Gibbs Street would be, but because I know for a fact there's no Gibbs Street in downtown, I would think that Gibbs Street was probably southwest Portland, so like a little bit south of the downtown area. And that's just a guess. I could be absolutely wrong about that. But that's where I'm predicting this kid lived. An area that looked a lot different back when this story happened. I mean, even by, you know, 1970, the area looked a lot different, because a lot of that area got knocked down and repurposed and restructured under the guise of this urban renewal stuff, which I sometimes agree with, but a lot of times it ends up leading to a lot of poor people and a lot of people of color losing their homes under the guise of progress, beautification of the city, whatever. However, this particular home that one of the kids in the club lived at, this place at Gibbs, at Front and Gibbs, so that he would have lived pretty close to being along the waterfront of the Willamette River. Some neighbor, they don't give any background on this neighbor, they don't give their name, they don't express what serious deficiencies this person may have had. Either that or they just weren't great at comprehending what signs said. But anyway, some neighbor near this home at Front and Gibbs saw the sign. That was all they saw, was this little sign that they put at the head of these homes. And this person freaked out. This person ran to the police. They were on the phone. They were like, you gotta send someone out here. You gotta send someone out here. There is some weird ass stuff going on around here. I don't even know how to explain it, but I'll do the best I can. And literally all the signs said that these kids put up was, it said, "Stop. A club member lives here. See my chickens." That was literally all the sign said. Like, stop, come and visit. Hey, you know, because that verbiage, that's something that like a kid would understand. Hey, a member of your club lives here. Your chicken club. Chicken club sandwich. Oh. I'm talking about chicken, I'm talking about, oh, I hope they weren't raising them for poultry, and then I'm just like, ooh, chicken club. I'm a bad person. So, anyway, as it were, that's all the sign said. Stop. Hey, a member of your club lives here, the chicken club. There's chickens here, come see them. That's all the sign said. Now, maybe this neighbor saw the word club and thought like, cult? You know, weird science experiments? I don't know. I don't know the guy. But this neighbor called authorities in a panic and told them they needed to investigate what was going on at this home at Front and Gibbs, and they needed to investigate it right away because they thought that based on that sign alone, that whoever lived there was breeding like human chicken hybrids. They were making chicken people. Is seriously what this guy thought that sign meant. He thought there was some weird, evil scientist working out of a basement, abducting people off the street, strapping them into a chair, strapping a chicken into another chair, conducting some very sinister surgery, and melding people with chickens. That was seriously what this person thought when they called the authorities in a mad panic and were like, get over to First and Gibbs, you're gonna find chicken people. The sign's right there. As though somebody that was doing something that twisted and sinister, unless they were absolutely completely mentally out of their mind, why in God's name would they be putting a sign out to advertise something like that? That sounds like something you'd be doing in secret. Don't tell anybody, but I'm breeding humans and chickens down in the basement. Just shh. Don't talk about it. And I gotta wonder, because when the police get this call, they don't know specifically that this is like, oh, this is one of the homes that those kids that are doing the chicken thing live at. So, you know, the police are, I don't know how they would feel, because like on the one hand, it's like you got a job to do. Like, what if this person's telling the truth and you're about to stumble onto some weird human chicken hybrid thing? Like, how do you even react to discovering something like that with just like pure shock? At the same time, I feel like a lot of these people are probably like, we got another crank. It's near First and Gibbs, it's probably Ernie. You know, he's always calling and giving us crack. Hey, this sounds like the classic phone call from someone who just would call the police incessantly to report just a plethora of just random things, and none of them were real. It was just one of those people that like to call and harass the police out of a, you know, state of paranoia, a state of, you know, other possible things. But I'm just very, very bewildered. And it's just insane that this person went to that level based on what that sign said. So, you know, the authorities show up at this home as they were, you know, called to do. They show up, they see a nice, happy, all-American family who's got some chickens in their backyard. The kid's a member of the freaking chicken club. So the authorities look around and are like, yeah, probably should have kind of figured it was going to end this way. And then they walk away, they bump each other. Man, Fredericks, I'll tell you what though, I for a second thought we might be finding chicken people here. So did I, Freddy. I don't know. I'm just coming up with random names for police officers in 1919. So, of course, authorities showed up. Didn't take long to scour the scene and see that there was no nefarious actions taking place, despite the frantic fear of the neighborhood caller, who thought there was a wild science experiment afoot. I don't know. The article even made a point to say that after, this neighbor made this call and the police reported to the scene and assessed what was really going on, and I can, I want to infer that they probably at least, to bring this lunatic back down to earth, they said, hey, nothing to worry about. It's just a kid raising chickens for a school club. And the article ends by saying, the police haven't heard anything since from this suspicious neighbor. So, this neighbor could have been a little crazy, admittedly. This neighbor also could have just been not great at reading comprehension and read something in that letter that he took to be chicken-human breeding. And he could have been genuinely freaked out and frightened, and in the aftermath, when the police tell him it's just a kid raising chickens, like, go over there and look in the backyard, there's chickens running around, there's chicken wire around them because they're chickens. And I could see that guy being like, oh God, well, don't I feel like a heel now? I used to be a stand-up guy in my neighborhood. I was on the level, see? And now I ain't on the level anymore. So, any number of circumstances. This guy either really genuinely thought that was going on, he was confused, or maybe he had, again, he may have had some kind of, mental issue that brought this about. But whatever the case, nobody got in trouble, no one was harmed, no humans were harmed, no chickens were harmed in the telling of this story. And that is today's story. Chicken, human, inbreeding? Or I guess just breeding at that point. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I'm not splicing different types of animals together. Anyway, I'd like to thank you so much for joining me today. As always, I like to thank you for supporting this series, for supporting my channel, for supporting me. And if you want to continue to support me in bigger and better ways, remember to like, share, subscribe if you haven't done that yet. And also, my Patreon is there. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I'm trying to post there multiple times a week to give you a lot more extra content that you can only access if you become a Patreon supporter now. And the link to that's in the description, as well as the links to my Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and my Reddit subreddit page. All that said, this has been Steve the Amateur Historian, and I'll see you tomorrow.